this is David Gillespie from Pumpkin Town Primitives. I just wanted to share with you the latest stone that I just have completed. I just have carved a stone for a client down in Charleston, and I thought I would give you a quick video tour. I'm a professional stone cutter, and this is what I do on a daily basis typically. So I thought that I might share with you what I just completed. So to start with, I can't be any more excited about carving a purple piece of slate. All the way back to the 1730s in South Carolina, we have seen purple slate being used for gravestone monuments. Here is a beautiful piece of purple slate carved in 1741 by the Lamson family of Charlestown, Massachusetts, and now resides in Charleston, South Carolina. So, following a long line of tradition of different colored slates, as you can see, the one next to it is green, and just as a comparison, this piece of slate is blue-black, which is what most slates are typically. So you can definitely see that this one has a reddish chroma, purplish chroma to it, as compared also to the green. So the stone is in the style of Thomas Walker, who was a Scottish immigrant to Charleston, South Carolina about 1792. He set up shop in Charleston, and I think it was on Meeting Street, and he advertised in the local paper there that he was recently from Edinburgh. So here is an original stone carved by Thomas Walker about 1793 and backdated to 1790. You can see the script at the top that says "in memory of." And so the stones that are in the cemeteries down in Charleston have this same design to it. The first line is in a script, and it says "in memory of," as do most of his. And then the rest of the stone, a lot of times, it's just in a standard Caslon family typeface, and at the bottom he'll have some type of cursive of some sort. I'm growing more and more fond of the incised border around some of my stones. I think it's a simple way to add a lot of elegance to a stone, but it just gives it another dimension and almost makes it look framed. So, as we were saying earlier, the top line is in a script, and Thomas Walker from Scotland always typically took the M to really show off his skill. What I have done in this stone is I actually used a steel nibbed pen, and I actually drew this out on a piece of paper with a steel nibbed pen, and then carved out what I actually drew with that pen. So even though it looks just like Mr. Walker's work, it's my own. It just looks a lot like his. But I did have a lot of fun in mimicking his style with the steel nibbed pen there. And then as we go on down, these are all hand drawn, hand lettered. It's not it's a Caslon type style, but I just draw this on, and I always put these little curls on the tops of G's or in S's. I've seen that a lot in Charleston, South Carolina gravestones, and I just think it adds a little bit of extra charm to it, and it says to me, I am not done on a computer. When I see things like that, that just speaks to me as far as it looks hand-drawn and not computerized. The M is very stylized. It's almost too fancy. You can just barely pick out that it is an M, but in the context it shouldn't present any troubles with most people. But the flourishes, I tried to mimic some of the flourishes at the bottom to tie it all together. But the M took a lot of time to carve, but it was a lot of fun. So as you can see, it's has the three-dimensional V-cut letters. That is the only style of letter I know to carve with a chisel. Stone actually is going into the state of Virginia. These are the children of former slaves, and they were never demarcated for a monument. So this is going to be the first time, as far as I understand, that they'll ever be actually marked in a memorial. So that was it's a very great honor for me to do that, especially from people that's been deceased for over 70 years now. So this piece of stone is about 2 inches thick. Most of the original slates that I have seen in South Carolina here are 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. So this one's plenty thick. And at the bottom, I actually, on this one, used copper plate pen. So I did this with a steel copper plate pen on paper, and used the same type style that they would have drawn by hand in the 1730s, 40s, and 50s. So it's, to me, the style that I like to use for italic or cursive on some of these stones. And then, of course, I always sign my stones typically at the lower right. And this is probably the smallest that I've ever signed a stone. I don't know how well to pick up on the camera here, but the E in Gillespie is about the size of a pinhead. So it's really small, but a lot of fun to carve. And that's mostly for researchers years down the road, in case anyone cares to know. I wish that all the stones that I enjoy seeing the originals of were signed, so that we would know. But with modern mass-produced stones, this isn't as common. But to me, I think with a hand-lettered stone, a hand-carved, is absolutely critical, as it's a part of our heritage in this country as letter carvers. So here's a little close-up of some of the letters. I don't have a sharp light source on it, so you can see it a little bit better. And then kind of scroll along here and show you some of these letters that I carved. One of the neat features of stone in general is that they're always different. Nothing's ever exactly the same. You can see up close here, this purple slate actually has little green spots in it. So whatever happened geologically to create these little green fragments along in the purple, I could not describe, but to me it just shows that it's a natural product, that it's not a man-made product. And even though at a distance it doesn't even look like stone, but it is. It's slate, and it's beautiful. And you can see the green in this piece shows a lot more effects. The purple generally isn't as swirly or show as many interesting things. In this particular way that I drew these letters on, I think I only drew the minuscules, which are these, half the height of these. So, and I always, on the straight bar that goes across the H, I always raise it just slightly above level, or midway, I mean. So I think it just lends itself to a little bit smarter look, so to speak. And on my dates, I always use the 18th century style for dates, and I love for the ones to be small, and I love, these are called ascenders, the ones that go above the line, and descenders that go below the line. So I think little things like that make it look hand carved, whereas if they all were the same height, it would still look good. But to me, this just looks more interesting artistically. Small 1, larger 9, that's a descender, larger 4, smaller 0, and it's balanced. So these are little things that I like to do that just, again, shows that it's not a computer-generated product, as well as the curl on the S there, and the curl on the S there. The shape on the top is typical of Thomas Walker from Scotland. He had what was called a reverse cyma approach. and this was big in the 1790s with him up till he died in the 1830s. So it always had this stepped format, but it's an attractive top. To me, I like Walker's style for that reason, that it isn't the typical arch or the tri-arch as some of the older ones were. This one probably is a little more modern in the 18th century, 1780s, 90s. So this is still an 18th century style stone. It's just right at the tail end of it. I hope you've enjoyed this little short video tour of my next stone. So thank you for watching, and if you like this type of material, please subscribe. It would help us out greatly. And please comment if you have any questions or any things that you would like to know more about. Thank you. For more information on Thomas Walker's stones or other 18th century stones, see my book, A Brief Treatise on Tomb and Gravestones of the 18th Century, which is full of black and white crisp photos, and I'll leave a link for it in the description below.